April 16th is here at last, and with it, Dead by Daylight Mobile has finally launched globally, bringing the asymmetric PvP survival horror game to mobile devices everywhere. If this is your first time heading into the trials, then you're likely to encounter a mix of players who are familiar with the game from PC, console, or the mobile beta, and new bloods like yourself taking the first intrepid steps into the fog. It's important that you're armed with the best knowledge you can get in order to get ahead of the competition and start racking up those all-important blood points. Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with my top 5 tips to surviving the fog. This video will cover the basics of Dead by Daylight Mobile, both in the eyes of the survivors trying to escape the fog and the killer trying to sacrifice them to the shadowy being known only as the Entity. Before we jump in, if you find this video useful or enjoyable, slap that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for all things mobile gaming and more Dead by Daylight content as it comes. What topics would you like to see me cover in the future? Let me know in the comment section below or come find me on social media. Alright, let's get going. Before we get into actual gameplay, you need to understand both how to prepare and what you're actually aiming to achieve. Actions in the game will reward blood points, and the better you perform in a trial, the more blood points you'll earn. These can be used in the shop to buy different items for use in the trials. For survivors, keep an eye out for items like medikits and various upgrades for them, as these will allow you to heal yourself if injured and help you heal others faster. The same goes for toolboxes, which help you repair generators faster and can allow you to sabotage some of the killer's hooks. For the killer, many of these items upgrade your abilities or modify them to do new things. Also, keep an eye out for items that increase the blood points you'll earn in the match. Make sure to kit yourself out in the loadout screen before you enter a match. You'll note that different items have different shapes that dictate where you can use them, and some items are upgrades for other items, so obviously you'll need the first item first. The same goes for the killer, who can change how their abilities work with certain items. I won't go into details here as there's simply too much to cover, but do try things out, experiment, and find the things that you like. Also, don't forget to choose your perks. These change up how you play the game. Every character starts with a selection of perks, and as you level characters up, they can equip more perks. Beyond this, at certain levels, the perks become unlocked for other characters to use too. When playing as a survivor, you play in a group of 4, and it can be tempting to run off in different directions to spread out and try and fix multiple generators at once. Alone, however, you are at the killer's mercy and you will be picked off one by one, so you need to work together. Now, I'm not suggesting that all 4 of you move as a single unit, or the same issue is going to arise, but stay close and watch each other's backs. Multiple survivors working on a single generator will fix it much faster, and when the killer inevitably shows up, you can all scatter off in different directions to throw the killer off your trails. One of your mates will, however, likely be injured, and it's important to help them out. Once the killer is thrown off the trail, consider locating any of your injured friends to try and heal them. If they're hooked, try and free them. Claudette is a great starting survivor because of this. Her perks are designed around healing and supporting your teammates, and with a toolbox or medkit, either bought in via loadout or found in the trial, she can become a real thorn in the killer's side. On the other hand, the killer has the daunting task of trying to deal with a team of 4 opponents all working together. Sure, you're bigger, faster, and stronger, but you're heavily outnumbered, and running around the map chasing after every noise the survivors make just isn't gonna work. A skilled survivor can evade you in a chase and keep you distracted for several minutes at a time if you're not wary, allowing her teammates to finish their tasks with impunity. As such, you need to use your abilities to keep pressure on all the map at once. Remember that your goal is to sacrifice as many of the survivors as possible. Now, the Wraith is a great starting killer, I find, as his cloak allows him to sneak up on survivors and quickly injure them, but the Trapper's bear traps are also a great way of keeping the survivors on their toes and letting you know where they are. Patrolling the generators is a great starting point for keeping up map pressure and finding survivors, but it's important to learn your chosen killer's tools. Also, don't just abandon hooked survivors. Chances are that their friends will be along soon to free them, and this can be a great opportunity to catch multiple. Equally though, don't just camp a hooked survivor, or you're giving the others free rein on performing their tasks elsewhere. Being spotted by the killer is inevitable, and they are faster than the survivors, so in a straight race, the killer will win out. Their downside, however, is the limited first-person perspective. A canny survivor will jink and turn and dodge away from the killer to try and lose them. There are also pallets that can be dropped down, and windows that survivors can vault through. Survivors vault windows and pallets much faster than the killer. In fact, the killer can't vault pallets at all, and must either go around or spend a long time trying to break them. Survivors can use this to their advantage to help get away. As a killer, you can follow the scratch marks left by running survivors, or the bloodstains left by injured ones. Watch the direction that they fade from to know which way to chase. When a survivor vaults a window or drops a pallet, it can often be faster to go around. Only break a pallet if the survivor's already gotten away or been caught as some kind of cleanup, or if there really is no other choice. Understanding how these perspectives change the game is one of the key points to surviving in Dead by Daylight. Survivors can spin the camera whilst performing tasks, and should aim to keep the killer in their sights as much as possible. Killers have great focus, but a survivor that ducks and weaves can be difficult to track at speed. Playing as each side of the trial will really help you understand the strengths and weaknesses of the other. Sure, it's fairly obvious that if all 4 survivors were sacrificed, then the killer kinda had that one, but what if only 1 or 2 escape? The point ultimately isn't as simple as win or lose, but rather a more grey area in between. At the end of a match, you are scored on your performance and awarded blood points and experience. As a survivor, you'll earn these for fixing generators and being chased by the killer. You'll also earn a load for rescuing your fellow survivors on the hook and healing them up, or working together to accomplish a task. The killer will mainly get points for sacrificing the survivors, but also earns a lot of points based on how they use their abilities to control the map, damaging generators, and generally keeping up the tension. Early on as a survivor, it can be frustrating to be teamed up with seeming idiots, but don't just let them run off on their own or the killer will pick each of you off one by one. Instead, support them, assist them, heal them. Even if you lose, you'll earn a bucket load of blood points and experience. As a killer, it can be overwhelming to be so outnumbered with the survivors somewhere out there in the fog, fixing the generators, but take it slow. Don't just rush around like a headless chicken. Look for the survivors, for signs of where they've been. Use your tools to help you locate them. Bear traps in the long grass near generators are a great place to catch an unwary survivor, and if you spot a crow on top of a locker, it means a survivor has been in hiding in there for some time now. If one of your hooked survivors is rescued, prioritize going after the one who was hooked. They're already injured, so they're easier to rehook, and the third hook on the same survivor is an instant kill, reducing the survivor's team by 1. Even if 3 of the team escape, learn from the experience, try to figure out what worked for you and what you need to do to improve. And that's ultimately the most valuable point. At first, you are going to suck. Dead by Daylight's trials can be overwhelming at first. There is so much going on and so much to do, and everything seems so slow. It takes so long to do anything it can feel. Focus on perfecting your skill checks, avoiding the killer, and figuring things out slowly. Pace yourself. Keep at it and you'll quickly figure out what works and what doesn't. Don't blame your teammates, but look at what you can do better next time. Well, that just about wraps up my top 5 tips for surviving in the fog. Did I miss anything vital? Which killer and survivor are you having most fun with? Let me know in the comment section below. Happy sailing, and see you in the fog!